Hello students, today's agenda is to check homework. We will be learning about equations with multiplication and division only. You will be able to work on 11.9, and today students will be able to solve one-step equations by multiplying or dividing. I guess I could add in there one step, okay? So one step equations. It means that you only take one step, because later on we'll be doing more than one step. Two step and then multiple. Okay, so before we start, I want you to think of a number. Okay, now multiply it by 3. Okay, ready? And then divide it by 3. Divide the answer by 3. What do you get? Well, you probably got the number that you first thought of, right? Okay, let's do another example. You can think of a number, and it can be the same or a different one. It doesn't matter. Think of a number. Divide it by 2, meaning cut it in half. Now multiply it by 2. Did you get the number that you thought about? That is because we already learned about the inverse operation in addition and subtraction. Inverse operations means numbers that or operations that cancel each other. So we in here, it means that you cancel multiplication with division. So son operaciones inversas que si multiplicamos y luego dividimos por el mismo número, vamos a agarrar la misma respuesta o el mismo número que estábamos pensando al principio. Okay? Previous lesson, we learned that addition and subtraction were inverse operations. Now we're going to be using multiplication and division. Okay? Okay, so we need to review again the signs, and we saw already about addition and subtraction, and we used them. Okay? But today we're going to, and you can just kind of see, when they are the same in addition and subtraction, same signs, you add, different signs, subtract, and always, always, always leave the greatest sign. For multiplication and division, I'm going to show you a table like this, but then I'm also present you with a little mouse. And so the table says that in fact, you don't have to, you just follow the operation. If it's multiplication, you're going to multiply. If it's division, you're always going to divide. But in here, the answer, it's always going to be like this. If the signs are the same, the answer will be positive. So they say positive times positive, positive. Negative times negative, positive. Okay, careful with that. Negative times negative, always positive. But if you have a positive and a negative, or negative times positive, the answer will always be negative. Okay, this does not depend on which one is greater, okay, or stronger. That's in addition and subtraction. Multiplication and division, if they're the same, they get along. You get a plus. But if they are different, you don't get along. It's negative. Okay, you can think of it that way. Now, we also know about the mouse. And the mouse only knows how to divide and multiply. Or multiply and divide, it doesn't matter. And we use their eyes and the mouth. Okay? And so it says that when you have two numbers that are, for example, in here, if you have negative times negative, the answer will be whatever is opened, not covered, positive. If you have positive times negative, the answer will always be negative. Or if you have a negative times positive, the answer will be negative. And that works for multiplication and division. Okay? So you can use either this table, where if they're the same, positive. If they're different, negative. Okay? Or use the mouse. It's up to you. And that's what we're going to be using mainly today. Okay, so I think I'm going to need this right next to me. And let me cover all of them so that you don't look at the other ones. They need to be a surprise. Just kidding. Okay, so in here, what we have is 3x equals 24. It means I have a number, I'm multiplying by 3, and I get that. Now, to cancel it, the opposite of multiplication is division. Okay, that's the inverse operations. Inverse operations. Multiplication cancels with division. Division cancels with multiplication. Okay? So if a number and a variable are together, that means multiplication. The opposite is division. Anytime you see a fraction or you put it like this, that's division. Okay? I'm dividing by 3. And if I do it on one side of the equation, I have to do it on the other side. So 3 divided by 3 equals 1. 1x. We don't need to put the 1 as a coefficient. Never. Okay? And we say positive divided by positive. Positive. And 24 divided by 3. 8. Okay? So that's my answer. So we can say that in here we're cancel by dividing. Okay? The multiplication cancel by dividing. Okay, if you want, you can go ahead and pause the video. Otherwise, I'm just going to go to the next one. And it says, now I have m divided by 4 is 6. The opposite of dividing is multiplying. Okay, so I'm going to cancel by multiplying by 4. This cancels. And so now I have in here, if this cancels, all I have is m equals 6 times 4, 24. So that's my answer. What did I do? I canceled by multiplying. Whoops, I barely fit it in there. Okay, so if I'm multiplying, the opposite is division. If I'm dividing, the opposite is multiplication. And in multiplication, we put the numbers on the side. Okay? Some people get confused about this. Oh, but don't we multiply the 4 too? No, I said we just put it over 1, and it's 4 times m is 4m. 1 times 4 is 4. And 4 divided by 4 is 1m. Okay? So that's just like a quick explanation of why they cancel. Okay? This is just on the side. Okay, let's do another one. So far we haven't needed the multiplication because first I'm starting with all positives. Now we want to leave b by itself. And so if we're multiplying, right? Remember that anytime you have a number and a variable, that's multiplication. The opposite is to divide. And if I divide on one side, I divide on the other side. Otherwise, it's not going to be equal. It's not going to be balanced. And so this cancels. I put a line in here when I'm canceling. And I get b equals 21 divided by 3. It's 7. So that's the answer. However, there are some teachers who don't like to see the variable on the right side. They need to see it like this. b equals 7. So it all depends on your teacher, okay? It's the same thing, but some teachers prefer to see the b on the left. So in here, what did we do? We canceled by division or dividing. Okay, let's do number 4. We have the answer is 6 equals to r divided by 2. We want to leave r by itself. So if we're dividing by 2, we're going to cancel by multiplying. Okay, so if I'm dividing by 2, the opposite is to multiply by 2. You can also put a dot if you want. It's the same thing. Okay, so this cancel. And all I get on this side is r. In here, I say I have 2 times 6 is 12. So that's my answer. Okay. You can always check your answer just by replacing the number. Okay, r, the value of r is 12. Oh, and remember, some teachers prefer to see r equals 12. So same thing. So the value of r is 12. It means 12 divided by 2. Is that equals to 6? Yes. So that's a way of checking your answer. Okay, let's do some more. Okay, you have, it kind of got out of focus. There you go. Okay, so in here, we're now including some positives and negatives. Again, we want to leave the variable, in this case p, by itself. This means that it's multiplying. Careful, because some people say, oh, 12p, that I'm going to subtract 12. No, you don't have the plus in the middle, so it means multiplication, and the inverse operation of multiplication is division. Another thing that you need to know is that in multiplication and division, you keep the sign. Vamos a mantener en división y multiplicación el mismo signo. Okay? So be careful about that, because some people put negative in here, and so that is not right. Okay? So now, going back to this, not the addition, and I'm going to use the multiplication division. Okay? Negative divided by positive, it's different signs, negative, positive, negative. Okay? And 36 divided by 12, how many 12s going to 36? Oh, 3 of them. Okay, so you get negative 3. Now in here, what if you decided to use Mr. Mouse? Well, you have a negative and a positive. So negative divided by a positive, the answer will be the open one, which is negative, and then you divide 36 by 12 is 3. Okay, so you can use Mr. Mouse or the table. It's up to you. And what did we do in here? Cancel by dividing. Remember, fraction always means dividing. Okay, another one. You can always pause the video if you need to understand it, go back, etc. Okay. In here, this means division. The opposite of division is multiplication. And again, in multiplication and division, keep the sign of the number that you're canceling. So it's times negative 3. Okay, this cancels. And what do you get? S on this side equals, go back to Mr. Mouse, negative times negative, negative times negative, the answer will be positive. And for positive, we don't need to put it. Some people say, oh, I'm going to be positive because I need to see it. That's fine. It shouldn't matter. And then 2 times 3, 6. Okay, so the answer is S equals 6. What did we do in here? We cancel by multiplying. Okay, ing missing in there. There you go. Okay, let's do 2 more. Again, the equal sign is my division. And so I'm multiplying, right? I'm not subtracting 10. I'm multiplying because it's nothing in the middle of the number and the variable. So that means multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide. And remember, when you're canceling, you do it on both sides. Don't forget to do that part, because some people just put cancel and bring down the cube, but then don't do anything to the other side and just bring down the 30, and it's not, they're not canceling on both sides. They're not maintaining. They divide on one side and then it's not equal anymore. Okay, it's not equal. Okay, so now in here, negative 10 divided by negative 10 is 1 cube, and then positive divided by negative, positive, negative, if they're different, negativity. Or you can say positive divided by negative, the answer will be negative. Negative. 30 divided by 10, how many times does the 10 go into 30? 3 times. So my answer is Q equals -3. Okay, I'm not sure if your teacher requires, but you might want to rewrite it. Okay. And finally, if I'm multiplying, oh, I forgot to write in here. Cancel by dividing. If I'm dividing, the opposite is cancel by multiplying. Okay, so I'm going to multiply. Remember that in multiplication and division, you keep the sign. And what do I get? K equals negative times positive. Negative times positive equals negative. Remember, multiplication and division, the same. Positive. Different signs, negative. Okay? Or negative times positive, negative times positive. The answer is negative. 3 times 12, 36. If you can't do it like that, you can just put 3 times 12. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 1 is 3. And then just work with the signs on the side. Okay, so K equals -36. And that's it. I hope you have fun.